coming to America feels like getting into time machine and fast forwarding like 70 years into the future. We've got a question from our audience.
Ooh, exciting.
From Matt.
All right. Let's hear it.
So let's hear it. Yeah. So it says, Charles, love the podcast. Is exactly something I've been looking for. And it says, despite being a horrible place to be, the North Korea, I'm wondering if there are certain things about the culture and daily life that defectors miss. Perhaps cuisine or certain activities with neighbors. Tell us about the friendship in North Korea and how they differ from Western culture. Is there that sense of chong? It's like a chong is like the closeness, right? Or like a, how do you explain
Yeah,
chong?
that's a hard to it's a sense of
attachment.
well,
is it attachment?
I don't know if I'll call it attachment.
Like whenever you, so here's the thing, right? So whenever you had this thing for a long time in your life, and when you throw it out, like you want to keep it, right? Because it's like you're so attached to it. So it's like it's kind of like an attachment.
That sounds like Midian, not Chong.
Midian?
Yeah,
Really?
but I'll put it kind of like friendly love.
Yeah, friendly love.
Right? Like loving your neighbors kind of a thing. Being compassionate towards them, empathetic towards them, and wanting to care for them.
Yeah.
Because, you've grown maybe attached or you've grown accustomed to just living life with them.
Yeah.
And then that becomes the basis for you to continue to care for them in ways that are, actually active, right? You do things for them or help them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, very unique concept. Not necessarily unique to Korean culture, but we have a very specific word called chong that describes that whole sense. So
and he also said chong about is there that sense of chong that you're missing that you don't see in America? If so, do you think it's more of a Korean difference of the culture and not necessarily North Korean? How's Jong different in South Korea compared to like North Korea? I feel like that's what you just answered, right?
Yeah. Right. I think every culture has a little bit of this, if a culture is more community oriented, more collectivist as opposed to individualistic, I think that is a good breeding ground for this concept of chong or these kind of feelings to cultivate among a community. But enough about that. Charles, tell us your story of what do you miss about North Korea?
I mean, at this point, like I tell people countless times that, I have told countless times that, like, I mean, like, my friends, right? My friends and families. And I told them, like, coming to America feels like getting into time machine and fast forwarding like 70 years into the future.
Yeah, we explored that quite a bit in our season 1.
Yeah, it's because, like, I don't know, it's just so fascinating to me to, like, encounter this foreign concept, foreign culture of like 24-hour running electricity or 24-hour running like hot and cold water, and all of this kind of different things. And therefore North Korea is much more of like they're much more in nature focused, right? The reason is because the reason is because like there is much we can do. Like there is no electricity, first of all, so we can't play games, right? Any kind of video games, and there are no social media, so we don't have Facebook. Like I mean, we literally have like FaceTime, like a face-to-face time,
physical face-to-face time,
literal like in sense of that. So therefore, everything is much more like outdoor activities, right? So our life is basically sun up and sun down. Like when sun comes up,
artificial
we hang
light
out.
After.
Right, yeah. So we do have candle lights, but it's not as effective as
That's right. You
it's
can't
like bright lights like this.
Conference meeting or anything. Well, maybe you can.
Yeah, so I would say like the one thing that I really miss, right, about North Korea is like hanging out with friends, and here's why. So during summer, right, and we are hungry, like we're really hungry, and we're not eating, but at certain times in our lives or a certain time of the year, like a harvest time, right? During fall, like September or like closer to October, like we gathered together during the harvest kind of seasons, like summer, like August, right? And then we gathered together, and then we bring like things from our house, like somebody brings like burning wood, somebody brings like a pot, somebody brings like salt, somebody brings pepper and oil.
It's like potluck.
And the exactly like potluck, and then we bring that and we go to Taedonggang. So Taedonggang is like the river, right?
River, yeah.
Yeah, and then we catch fish there, and then somebody brings rice as well, right?
Wow, and then nature brings the fish.
Yeah,
to
and nature. But you have to catch it though.
I see. It's not free.
It's not free. Yeah, it's not free. You have to catch it. It's like that's another whole topic that we can get into, like how there's not much of like a wild fish or like wild animals in North Korea, because for the past 7 years they've been just like constantly fishing, constantly hunting, constantly.
People need food to eat,
right? Yeah. So it's like kind of dried up. But so we will do that, and then we'll cook outside. And we'll just eat together, and we'll have fun, and like those kind of like outdoor physical activities, whereas in America, it's more of like, hey, let's do a LAN party, it's like, let's bring our computers together, let's play video games together. It was more of like hanging out with my friends, right? And just
physically
hanging out with like my friends instead of like being on online. That's one thing that I personally miss. For other North Korean defectors, I think it all like differs, right? Based on like where they're from, like because the culture depends on like where they're from.
That's right.
So yeah, it could be differ. And let's see. Food too. Yeah, I really miss North Korean food. Like the fake meat pop, right? Injogibap,
that's
fake
right.
meat pop, and like tofu and rice, and sundae. There's like so it's like in North Korea, like. I mean, I think it's in Korea too, right? Korea also has a sundae, right? It's like an intestine.
It's like a pig intestine sausage. The casing is made out of pig intestines, and inside it's like, in South Korea they use glass noodles.
Yeah,
but is that the same?
No, but in North Korea we put rice and like vegetables in there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, rice and vegetable and blood, and it's quite good. And some people put tofu as well, so it's quite good. And also like during winter, like the culture is that during winter, like during the like a dinner time or breakfast or lunch, we have like the fireplace, and we put like 감자 and goguma, like a potato and sweet potato in there, and just like bake it, and then like that smell of like a baking sweet potato and
I see.
potato, it just smells so good. So I it's North Korea is a nice place to be, because, well, A, the air is clean, B, the water is clean, right? And C, it's untouched by mankind, so
right.
it's very pure. Like nature is really nice, but one thing that is not nice is the government, right? The regime.
That's right. It is a beautiful place in terms of the natural environment, and I actually got to visit.
That's right. You went to the Kumgang
Mountain. It was beautiful. I mean, the water was so clean you could drink it right off the stream.
Yes, yeah.
And I remember bringing that. I brought I filled my water bottle with North Korean water. And brought it back to South Korea, and I gave it to my mom. We drank it together, and then I gave it to my math tutor. My mom was like, "Oh, this is special North Korean water for you." And I do want to say, listening to what you just said there, there is a lot of that in South Korea too. I remember going to say like church camps or school trips, and then outdoor cooking, some nature activities. So. And I truly do think that these are things that happen across not just different cultures of humanity, but also throughout human history. Like people have always enjoyed this. And there is something very essential about having these physical time in nature, with the people that you love, that is core to what we want and desire to experience.
Right, we're social creatures. Like we need those kind of companies. Like we need like each other to live. Yeah,
and I like that you mentioned that, because it's often when you think about North Korea, easy to shift your mind to like, oh my gosh, people starving, under horrible conditions. But the fact that you bring these things and you're, actually, in isolation, good memories points that these are the same people as we are. They would be living lives like we are if they were here. And then if we were with them, like then we would also have the similar struggles. So hopefully this helps eliminate the misconceptions that perhaps they're any different, or they deserve less or more, whatever. But we are all people. And I feel like I also should say, because you did say North Korea is a good place to be, that's talking about the nostalgic parts, right?
that actually we're not there's a condoning
anybody think that North Korea is the ideal utopian escape. That's what the regime wants you to think.
That's what
that's not the reality. So please don't take weird sound bites out of this.
It's I mean, like I do want you to go to North Korea, but after the regime falls and after it's of course North Korea being free.